And welcome and good morning. Welcome to the Be Real, Get Real podcast. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, and this series is brought to you to give you an opportunity to get to know some of the extraordinary women we have inside of our community, sharing their stories of what they do now, their journey. And today I get to introduce you to Kathi. Did I say it right?
You did. You got it.
I am so glad to have you with us today, and I appreciate so much about you, your strength, your perseverance, your heart, and all the experience you have in the way that you share it with others. So thank you for being with us today, Kathi.
Oh, this is a pleasure. I'm really happy to be here this morning.
Awesome. We are delighted to have you. And we're going to be talking with Kathi today a little bit about her journey, going from unemployed and single to like, now what? So, and you've had many experiences as lots of us have. Share a little bit about that journey for you.
Okay, so I found myself as a single mom and unemployed, and I thought, now what? And so I was just in my mid-20s, and I went to visit my sister in a small city in Canada. They had just moved. And she said, "What are you going to do for a job now?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Well, why don't you move here? We'd always talked about opening a store." And having no experience, I said, "Oh, that sounds wonderful," because we were both very creative. So that's what I did. So for 8 years, we operated this store. But, you know, Nancy, the one thing I discovered is that I had a passion for helping someone else to do something they thought they couldn't do. I discovered that I loved to teach. And this began with all things in the mid 70s with learning how to do macrame and then teaching it. So then when we had our store, I taught others how to do silk flower arrangements. I learned it, and then I taught it for about 15 years part-time. And it just lit me up to see other people get excited with creating something they thought they couldn't do.
That is wonderful. And it's interesting because as you're describing this, I don't see myself as an artist or creative in that way. Like I tried crochet, I tried knitting, I did the hook rugs, and not good fingers or something. I don't know. Maybe I didn't have the right teacher, apparently.
Yeah, well, because I found it step by step. So when you could walk somebody like you through the process step by step, it just comes alive.
Yeah.
And I brought that right up to the present with the business plans. I just love that. When I create somebody's vision or mission, I just love it. I see them come alive, and that gets me excited too.
Well, I'm a little confused. You're this creative, artistic person. You love teaching and sharing. And now I hear business plans. That feels like the other, right brain, left brain, the other side of the equation.
I think I've got both going on inside my head.
Good for you.
But yes, so 30 years of brick and mortar businesses. From the store, we sold the store late 80s. I moved back to Vancouver, started a wholesale business, remarried, and that was another journey for 15 years. But I learned the ins and outs of running a business, operating it. I should back up a bit. When we had the retail store, we went through 2 recessions. And the government back then offered a 6-month course on establishing a business plan and operating a business through these hard times. And I qualified and took that course. And that was the turning point for me in running a successful business and then selling it for a profit 8 years later, through all the ups and downs and the hard times.
Yeah, good for you. I love that you recognized, hey, there's hard times. I don't have to be stuck in them. And what do I need to do to make it through and make it better? And that's a lesson for all of us, is, in these times and all times, seeking outside assistance and knowledge to be successful in what you want to do. Learn from somebody who knows it, which is, I know from working with you that you love to show business owners how to put those plans together so they can be successful.
Exactly. I love that. I love working with an entrepreneur, especially when they're just at the beginning and they have an idea and they're not quite sure how to bring it into being and how to make it real. I love working with them and getting their business plan as a solid foundation for them so they can use it and carry on in their business.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And we'll come back to talk about that in a few moments. I
Okay.
want to take a few steps back in your journey. You have strength and perseverance in mass quantities. And if it's okay for us to talk about, I know several years ago there was a physical situation that arose in your life. Will you share that with our audience?
Absolutely. So 7 years ago, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And Nancy, that felt like a death sentence. I thought, now what? And at that moment, I had closed out my wholesale business and I was writing business plans for businesses in Vancouver. And I shut everything down because it's the fear of the unknown. But here I am, 7 years later, still alive. Probably
Beautiful.
more alive now than then. Yeah.
Wow. I just was watching the news earlier today, and Christina Applegate just got diagnosed with MS. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, no. And MS divides into two. You either have remitting, relapsing, or progressive. So I guess it depends on which journey you're on too.
So with that, you get this diagnosis and you shut everything down, but here you are back up and running again. So what were some of the steps you took to get yourself back up again and still deal with, having MS?
I have to say, my brain never stops. So I'm an inspirational writer. I love to write. And so I thought, well, maybe I should get a website, put my writing. I've self-published 2 little books. And a gratitude journal. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I should put all that on a website. So that got my brain thinking. And then I discovered WPN. And that was huge for me because what do I say, the camaraderie and just having other like-minded women and entrepreneurs to bounce ideas off of, on all the training you sisters give us. It's just been a game changer for me. And eventually I thought, I need to start writing business plans again.
And there's such a need for it. So thank you for that plug about Women's Prosperity Network. We are here to serve women like you, women from all walks of life, to bring them together and in community and get those skills. It kind of goes back to what you mentioned earlier, that when you're, growing a business, get support. Don't think you have to try to figure it out all by yourself, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And that's what I discovered too. So then that led me to hiring a WPN member that is very skilled at websites. So I realized that don't try to do this on a shoestring budget. Look for who is the best and just go for it, because you will never regret it if you take the steps to do it properly.
Beautiful. Love that. Great advice. And I want to ask a little bit, let's talk about business plans, because it's not a sexy topic. It's like, okay, do your taxes, write a business plan.
Okay, so Nancy, let's have this conversation and I'll turn it into sexy. How's
Okay,
that?
let's do it. Let's do it because
Okay, let's get sexy about
yeah,
business
yeah,
plans.
it's sexy when you have a thriving business, and a business plan is going to get you that.
That's right. So you think about the words attached to sexy, you think about passionate, you think about exciting. So you can take that same feeling, that passion, you can take it from there and turn it into a sexy business plan where it motivates you. It
Mm,
motivates you to take action. And when you have confidence in what you're doing and how you're presenting yourself, it does become sexier. So
agreed. That's
so
awesome.
I laughed at that because it was Stephanie that got me thinking about that. Like, Kathi, can you turn this into sexy? And I thought, a business plan into sexy? I don't know. And then when I got thinking about that, I thought about the words that would uh, be the same, have the same connotation.
That's fantastic. So if you want a sexy business plan, you need to reach out to Kathi.
Yes, I'll help you. I'll help you develop that. I'll help you develop one.
Yeah.
Basically, it's having that solid foundation, that structure.
Mhm.
And that's why I like to turn that business plan, whether I help you to write one or whether you do my self-guided business plan, which will be live very soon, probably by the end of the month on my website for
Awesome.
a third of the price. And if you're a self-starter, this will be a game changer for you because I walk you through 7 modules of how to have clarity in your business, clear goals, and measurable action steps.
So good. And going back to this sexy,
Okay.
part of the conversation,
Okay.
if you're feeling, unsure or confused, is your business viable? How long is it going to last? Are you going to be able to pay your bills? Are you going to hit your financial goals? Are you going to be able to give back to legacy? Taking the pause to create your business plan is going to give you peace of mind as well as confidence in moving forward. So
Yeah.
highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
are so right. That's so
Yeah.
true.
That's why we're so aligned, and here's the bottom line. What works, they're proven formulas. Use them. You don't have to operate in a
Yeah.
vacuum, right?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. And it's working with, it's building a team in time. Yes, you start out solo, but in time, don't go solo. You won't get as far as building a team and using other entrepreneurs' expertise. Everyone has their skills, their passion. Align yourself with those entrepreneurs and it will take you, you'll fly, you
Mm,
won't splatter, you'll fly.
I love it. I want to bring us back and ask you, how do you manage your energy? You're still, handling and dealing with MS, and I know many of our audience, have other demands on their body, their time, or their attention.
Right.
So in growing a business, what suggestions do you have, for our listeners to be able to flow through while we're handling so many different, challenges or obstacles?
So I can speak into this, Nancy, because I had a very real moment of reality 2 months ago when I had a very nasty fall, and that set me back. I had to stop everything. I was in the middle of writing 2 business plans. I had to get a hold of my clients and say, I'm sorry, I'm too ill at the moment. Everybody is so gracious.
Mm,
They've gone through things, they understand. And in 2 weeks, I could start back slowly. So, what I did, because a lot of times we're our worst enemy, we take ourselves down mentally. So, I found what I did, what was good for me was giving myself 1 hour of structured work a day. So, that's what I began with. And when I got through that hour, and I'd set my timer, and if I could only do 25 minutes, okay, well, then I do another 30 minutes at another time. But I found structuring that 1 hour gave me that feeling of accomplishing something. It wasn't the 6 hours I would like to do in working in business, but that 1 hour gave me the confidence that yes, I can come back. So the other time I rested, I took care of my health because I'm very holistic too. So I was taking care of this with plant-based foods and that takes a lot of energy too to do that.
And didn't you tell me the other day that you had an angel who called you up and said, I'll come over and chop all your vegetables, right?
Absolutely. I had a neighbor friend and she said, I love chopping. But she said, as long as you don't mind me bringing my cutting board and my knife. And I said, do it. Absolutely come. So now we've had 2 weeks. And you know, Nancy, that's the thing. I would like to say to your listeners that if they're in that position right at the moment, in this situation where they're trying to juggle or they're struggling, reach out to somebody. Who do you know? Is there a neighbor that you could trade off? Could you babysit an hour for them coming and chopping vegetables for you? So reach out and see who could help you to accomplish your goals.
Beautiful. And I love that you shared that. And the truth of the matter is, for many of us, it's not always easy to ask for help. And we don't want to be a burden. We don't want to bother somebody. And if that comes up, I want to encourage you to remember how good you feel when you help someone else. Because you're actually, when you let someone help you, you're giving them a gift.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I am so much happier giving than I am. I mean, I love to receive. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Gifts are wonderful, but there is more happiness in giving. When you give, if you're really struggling with depression or feeling overwhelmed with your life, reach out. Do something nice, whether it's a card, whether it's a phone call, a text. I guarantee you'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yeah, beautiful. Great advice. Great way to wrap up our show today. Kathi, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and sharing such great practical ways for us to all move forward and get that sexy back in our business. That's what we wanted.
I love it, Nancy. Thank you. This has been a pleasure. What a way to start my day. I just love it. Thank you so much, Nancy.
My pleasure and my purpose. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone who dropped by to listen to the Be Real, Get Real podcast. We'll be back next week with yet another extraordinary woman to introduce you to, sharing her story where she's being real and getting real so that you can too. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye, Kathi.
Bye, Nancy. See you later.